Alright dudes, welcome back with me with another YouTube video. Okay, so today I'll talking about RIO Poneglyph in One Piece. So, make sure to stay tuned for that. If you do enjoy seeing this anime reviews and want to keep them coming, the best thing you can do is smash that like button, and if you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial, hit that notification bell or you will miss future anime videos. At one point of his journey, Roger stopped at Skypiea and befriended Lord Gonfall. Gonfall invites Roger and the crew to his residence located on the Vine of Jack. Roger accepted it happily. But that night, unbeknownst to Gonfall, Roger and one of his crew, poneglyph sculptor Odin, sneaked out and started climbing Jack's vines. Her eyes and ears were sharp. He's looking for something. Before long, they arrived at the top of Jack's vine. There was nothing up there, except for a little cloud that hovered not far away. Roger looked at him sharply. Whatever object he is looking for is above that little cloud. Roger took the milky dial from his pocket and pressed a button on the device while aiming it at the little cloud earlier. Instantly a Milky Way path formed between the top of the Jack vine and the little cloud. Roger and Odin immediately put on a waver that was shaped like an ice skating shoe and crossed the Milky Way. Arriving above the small cloud, Roger was immediately greeted by something towering in front of him, a giant golden bell. This scene gave Roger the chills for a moment. But Roger calmed down. Slowly he walked closer, his eyes tracing every corner of the golden bell. Finally, he found the object. A large stone cuboid attached to the foundation of the golden bell. A poneglyph. This is what he was looking for. Roger approached him and began to listen to it, not reading, but listening to the writing engraved on the rock face. What a strange sight. Roger did this for several minutes while closing his eyes. Roger then opened his eyes, his expression serious. Poseidon. It turns out that there is another weapon like this besides Pluton. And the location is on Fishman Island. Then there is my next destination. Roger smiled with satisfaction at this discovery. Roger turned and walked away, but a second later his steps stopped. Roger looked back. His eyes returned to tracing the golden bells. Except for the poneglyph, this building is made almost entirely of gold. Odin, will you help me sculpt a message beside this poneglyph? Said Roger. Odin nodded, walked over to the poneglyph, and began to sculpt the message he received with great pain. After carving out the message, Roger and Odin hurried away. Several decades later, the residents of Skypiea managed to find the golden bell after the Straw Hats' grueling battle against Enel. They seemed interested in the poneglyph embedded in the bell altar. However, their expressions looked confused. No one can read it. Amid their confusion, Nico Robin appeared and began to read aloud the ancient script engraved on the poneglyph. The residents of Skypiea were shocked. However, Robin did not seem interested in the contents of the writing. He turned away, but a resident of Skypiea told him there was a similar inscription engraved on the side of the poneglyph. Robin started reading it. This time, it was his turn to be surprised. Robin didn't think that the Pirate King could write in the ancient language. For a moment his body froze in the face of this fact. But he calmed down. His brain began to analyze. So apparently, in this world there are so many poneglyphs. But they do not stand alone. All poneglyphs in the world must be collected and compiled into a RIO poneglyph. Robin suspects this object has been found by Gold D. Roger. You can reread the message Roger left in chapter 301. This message is very interesting. You see, before reading this message, Robin thought the poneglyphs in Arabasta and in Skypiea were of no use at all. But after reading Roger's short message, Robin changed her mind 180 degrees. It turns out that every poneglyph is just as useful and just as important, because they are all part of something bigger, the RIO poneglyph. Based on the One Piece story to date, it is likely that there are 3 types of poneglyphs scattered in the world, namely ordinary poneglyphs. This is the most numerous. Road poneglyphs, there are 4 in number, and the last one poneglyph on Laugh-Tale Island. One has to collect all the common poneglyphs and road poneglyphs in the world to be able to access the island of Raftel and the last poneglyphs. After that, the contents of the last poneglyph must be linked with other poneglyphs to form the RIO poneglyph. Proverbial, like putting together a puzzle, Robin himself prefers to think of the RIO poneglyph as a book. Think of each poneglyph as a page torn from a book. If you only read the torn pages, would you be able to understand the entire book? Obviously not. You have to read the other ripped pages to understand the entire book. The book is the RIO poneglyph. Well, the only people known to have read this book are Gold D. Roger and his crew. The book described to them the lost history. So, is the content of history lost? This mystery may only be revealed before the ending of One Piece. So in theory, the Lost History contains the One Piece project, which is a project to unite all the oceans in the world. I have discussed this project briefly in the previous video. What is the importance of unifying the oceans around the world? Later we discuss in the next video. To be sure, Gold D. Roger and his crew already know the entire contents of this One Piece project. But that was all Roger's achievement. Roger actually failed to do the most important part, namely realizing the One Piece project. Wait, didn't Roger say he found One Piece before he was executed? Not. Roger never once said he had found One Piece. In Chapter 1, he just said, "I have hidden everything in this world in that place." This statement appeared again in Chapter 506 and the words did not change one bit. The phrases of everything in the world are still ambiguous. Is everything in the world equals One Piece? If so, why didn't Roger just say One Piece? The answer that makes sense is that he never found it. What Roger meant by everything in the world was limited to information about the One Piece project. But he failed to find it, or rather, make the One Piece project happen. Though that's the most important part. That's why Roger surrendered to the world government. Roger hopes that his death will motivate someone brave enough and strong enough to realize One Piece one day. His successful death sparked the Pirate Age, where thousands of people volunteered to go out to sea to hunt for One Piece that had yet to materialize. This was in line with Roger's expectations. So far, we can conclude that the missing history content is the One Piece project, where the project was originally the dream of the king of the ancient kingdom. However, that dream failed to materialize, so it must be passed on to the future. In the future, a man named Gold D. Roger appears and gets the opportunity to make the project happen, but he also failed, so that the dream must be passed on to the next generation. The reason Roger failed we will discuss later. 2 generations have failed to make this dream come true. However, according to the pattern of the passion passed down, these dreams will never die out until they are truly realized. Now everything is in the hands of the 3rd generation, namely the generation of Luffy and friends. By the way, what exactly is the way to make the One Piece project happen? I'll discuss it later in the next video.